Good evening. This is the current affairs session for July 11th. So let us have a look at the important articles. So the very first article is from GS2 and GS3 perspective. Uh, that is mega dam protest in Arunachal Pradesh. So from the prelims perspective, it is a topic under current events of national importance. From the mains perspective, GS2, GS3, that is government policies and interventions, GS2, and infrastructure, environment, growth and development, conservation, GS3. So what is the ongoing story? Two anti-dam activists from Arunachal Pradesh, they were put into preventive detention on Monday ahead of Union Power Minister Manohar Lal Khattar's visit to the state. Okay, so uh, the visit of the Power Minister is scheduled to the state of Arunachal Pradesh, and before his visit, two anti-dam activists, okay, the activists who were protesting against the construction of the dam, they were put into preventive detention. We do understand the meaning of preventive detention. That is, like you are you are detaining a person in order to prevent him from committing a crime just on mere suspicion. Okay, a person has not done the crime yet, but on the mere suspicion that he might do something, you're detaining that particular person. Okay, now, what are the key takeaways? So, the Upper Siang project. So, here we are talking about a very important project which is proposed in the state of Arunachal Pradesh. The name of the project is the Upper Siang project. It is a proposed 11,000 megawatt hydropower project on the Siang River, located in the Upper Siang district in the state of Arunachal Pradesh. So, we need to remember the name of the project, Upper Siang project, with state Arunachal Pradesh, and it's a 11,000 megawatt hydropower project. Now, when we talk about the Siang River, so Siang River it originates near Mount Kailash in the Tibet, where it is known by the name as Sanpo. Then it traverses more than 1,000 kilometers eastward, and then finally across the Horseshoe Bend, that is near Namcha Barwa Peak, it enters into Arunachal Pradesh as the Siang River. Further then, it enters into Assam, where the river becomes the mighty Brahmaputra River. So let us have the understanding about the course of the river. So you can see over here, the river somewhere around here, Mount Kailash near Tibet, the river originates. Here the river is known as Yarlung Sangpo. Okay, so it flows for 1,000 kilometers across the Tibet region, and then finally here it enters into the state of Arunachal Pradesh. So here the river is known as the Siang River. So here it is known as the Siam River, and then it finally enters into the state of Assam, where it is known as Brahmaputra. Okay? Now, earlier, two dams were proposed to be constructed on the Siang River. Okay, but then government decided that instead of constructing two dams, let's have one big mega project. Okay, so in 2017, we can see here in 2017, government proposed to replace the planned 5,500 megawatt Siang Upper Stage 1 and 3,750 megawatt Siang Upper Stage 2 hydel projects with a single multi-purpose project of a higher capacity. Okay, so in 2017, the decision was taken. We'll replace these two small dams and we'll construct a big one, that is the Upper Siang Dam, which will be 11,000 megawatt big project. And the project is set to be built by National Hydroelectric Power Corporation. And it is being said that once the dam will be constructed, it will be the largest in the subcontinent. Okay. Now, when we talk about the importance of this dam, more than its hydropower potential, the dam is considered to be a very important one from the strategic perspective in order to counter China's hydel projects on the Sangpo River. So, China in the Tibetan region has constructed many dams on the Sangpo River. So, to counter it, we are planning to build this mega project in Arunachal Pradesh. Okay, so you can see over here, there are many dams constructed by China. Sangmu Dam. Then you can see over here, this is the proposed dam by China, this one here. So here, this project by China, which is under construction, it is called as the Medoc project. Now, this MEDOC project is a proposed project of the Chinese government on the upper course of the Sanpo River. Once the project will be completed, it will be in a position to produce 60 gigawatt of electricity. Okay, 60 gigawatt of electricity, and this will be triple that of the electricity produced by Three Gorges Dam. Now we know that Three Gorges Dam, it is located in China, and this is the world's biggest dam. Okay, as of now, it is world's biggest dam. But once China will be completing this MEDOC project, it will be 3 times more bigger and more in terms of the capacity. It will be 3 times much more electricity producing than the Three Gorges dam. Okay, so in order to counter this, we are planning this 11 gigawatt. Okay, approximately 10 to 11 gigawatt project on the Siang River, that is India planning to do. Okay, so officials have highlighted in particular the plan for 60,000 megawatt, that is 60 gigawatt super dam in Tibet's MEDOC country, right to the Arunachal Pradesh. This super dam's installed capacity is almost 3 times that of the largest hydropower station on the planet, the Three Gorges Dam on the Yangtze River in China's Hubei province. Okay, and whatever water this dam which China has proposed, MEDOC dam, it will be used to divert water to the water scarce northern regions. Okay, so what India has done, India has said that we are going to counter this by our own project, and this will act as a reservoir that is to store the water. Okay, a dam to store the water, reservoir, and also as a hydro power station. So many organizations, they are protesting against this mega project, mainly taking into consideration the environmental and the social concerns. Okay, so Siang Indigenous Farmers Forum, Dibang Resistance, and Northeast Human Rights, they are protesting against this mega project. Let's have a look at the preliminary question. So this was a question from 2014. 3 rivers are given over here. Which about the following flows through Arunachal Pradesh? Okay. So when I talk about the Barak River, it does not flow through Arunachal Pradesh. Okay? So let's cancel it. Barak, it originates in the state of Mani. Okay. So if I cancel one, let's have a look at the options. One Gaya, one Gaya, one Gaya. What is the answer? Answer is Gaya. Okay. So when I talk about Barak River, it flows through the states of Manipur, Nagaland, Mizoram, and Assam. And then it goes into Bay of Bengal. It rises in the Manipur hill known as the Barak River. Lohit, it is a tributary of Brahmaputra and flows in Arunachal Pradesh. Subansiri, it flows through Arunachal Pradesh and Assam, and it is the largest tributary of river Brahmaputra. Let's come towards the next article. CRPC and personal law, divorce to Muslim women's right to alimony. Okay? So right to alimony, when I talk about, it is basically once a husband gives a divorce to a wife, okay, so she is entitled to a money for her livelihood, and that is called as right to alimony, right? So this is an important article from the GS2 perspective, government policies and interventions. So what is the ongoing story? So Supreme Court on Wednesday dismissed an appeal which was filed by a Muslim man against a Telangana High Court order allowing his wife to seek maintenance under the Code of Criminal Procedure Code of Criminal Procedure 1973. So basically, a Muslim couple over here, so husband, wife, so divorce happened, and Telangana High Court ordered that husband should give money to wife for her maintenance, that is alimony. So this particular man, husband, he went to the Supreme Court in order to challenge the decision of the Telangana High Court. But then Supreme Court dismissed his plea. Supreme Court reiterated that women have right to alimony. Okay. So what are the sections, important sections mentioned in this article? So what are the key takeaways? So section 125 of the Criminal Procedure Code, it places an obligation on any person having sufficient means to maintain his wife or his legitimate or illegitimate minor child. Okay, so it's an obligation of the wife that you have to pay for the maintenance of your wife and the minor children. Okay, if they are unable to maintain themselves, typically through monetary support at the regular intervals. Okay, and wife also includes the divorced women, fine, who has not yet remarried to someone else. Okay, so if she is single, then you have to pay to her a monetary support at the regular intervals. Just as Nagaratna said that Section 125 of the Criminal Procedure Code, it is aligned with the power to create special provisions for women under Article 15, subclause 3 of the Constitution. So we are aware that Article number 15, subclause 3, it is a part of fundamental rights, right to equality. Okay, and this particular Article 15, subclause 3, it says that the state may continue to make laws that provide special provision to women and children. So state can make laws which give some special provisions to women and children. So just as Nagaratna said that this particular section 125 of Criminal Procedure Code, it is in sync or it is aligned with this particular article. And this section is absolutely correct. State have a right to make special provisions for women. And if state says that your husband has to take care of the wife, even after divorce, take care in the sense monetary support has to be given. So this is absolutely correct. Further, Justice Nagaratna also said that this is also true under Article 39 subclause E. So Article 39 subclause E, it is from the DPSP section. And this particular article, it says that you have to ensure the strength, you have to ensure the health and the strength of workers, men, women, okay, children, that they are not abused. So you have to ensure that the children, women, workers are not abused and you have to maintain their health. Okay. So how this is linked with this particular right to alimony? So just as Nagaratna said that if an old woman is there, she is being divorced. So you cannot expect her to go and work and earn for her livelihood because this will have implication on her health. She will be abused. Okay. So as a result, to prevent this, a husband has to give money to the wife for her maintenance. Okay. So please remember, just as Nagaratna has said that right to alimony, it is in sync with the two articles, article number 15, subclause 3, and article number 39E. This can be used in writing mains answer. Okay. Apart from that, ruling reiterated the maintenance under this section 125, in addition to the provisions for the maintenance under Muslim Women Protection of Rights on Divorce Act 1986. Okay, so we know that uh, like the civil laws with respect to divorce, alimony, they are they differ from religion to religion. So for Muslim women, we have this particular law, Muslim Women Protection of Rights on Divorce Act 1986. Okay, so when I talk about this particular act, Muslim women, this one protection, this you can see over here, second line, Muslim Women Protection of Rights on Divorce Act 1986. This was enacted by Rajiv Gandhi government under the famous Shahabano judgment of 1989. So Shahabano was a lady, a Muslim lady. She was divorced by her husband and she had dependent children on her, and she went to the court, Supreme Court, for her right to alimony. And Supreme Court gave the judgment that yes, she has the right to alimony. So husband has to pay to her for her maintenance. But then there was a widespread protest from the Muslim community across the country. And Rajiv Gandhi was pressurized. So Rajiv Gandhi government, they enacted a law, and the law is Muslim Women Protection of Rights on Divorce Act 1986. According to this act, okay, so instead of husband giving the right to alimony, they have put this obligation on the Waqf board. So Waqf board, These are the charitable institutions, Muslim charitable institutions. So there are trustees. So they will be paying money to Muslim women. On the case-to-case basis, a woman has to apply to the Waqf board and they will evaluate the application and the money will be given. But now Supreme Court said that, okay, fine, Waqf board, they will be giving the cost of maintenance. We do not know how much they will be giving, right? Because they have to cater the needs of the entire Muslim community, not only women, but also educational needs, the other charitable things. So apart from the Waqf board, whatever money Waqf board is given, that is fine. But apart from that, a husband has to pay money for the maintenance of the wife. Okay, so you can see where the ruling reiterated that the maintenance exists in addition to the provisions of that Muslim Women Act. Okay. For your information, Supreme Court on Wednesday ruled that all married and divorced women, including Muslim women who are illegally divorced by the triple talaq, they are entitled to claim maintenance from their husband. Okay. So this is all about this important article. Let's come to the next article from the economy perspective, the food price constraint. Okay, so we are seeing a lot of fluctuations. Monetary policy in India is navigating diverging economic trends. Okay, so diverging economic trends in the sense GDP is increasing slightly, slowly GDP is increasing on one side, but on the another side, it is being seen over that this while GDP continues to surprise on the upper side, core inflation is decreasing. Okay, so gradually core inflation is falling. Now, what is core inflation? Core inflation means total inflation minus inflation in food and fuel. Food plus fuel. See, food and fuel are the most volatile components. So these are the two entities, okay, which take the inflation up. So if you are minusing the inflation in food and fuel from the total inflation, definitely the core inflation will fall down. So GDP is increasing, core inflation has fallen down. But when I talk about the food inflation is rising. Okay. Fine, so that has been mentioned that India's monetary policy, it's like diverging economic trends are being seen. GDP is increasing, core inflation is falling, food inflation is increasing. Okay, so what are the key takeaways? Food commands nearly 40% weightage in the CPI basket. Okay, so when I talk about consumer price index, food has the most important weightage or the higher weightage, we can say 40%. Okay, now if you look at the past 24 months, the headline inflation has been about 6% in the 24 months. Okay, headline inflation is nothing but the total inflation in the economy. Okay, so this is the total inflation. You can say all India CPI, Consumer Price Index, that is your headline inflation. Okay, and this was about 6%. Now, this is again against the target of RBI. So we know that RBI has the task, onus on it to maintain the inflation between the range of 2% to 6%. But the headline inflation crossed this 6%. Okay. Now, slowly and gradually, if you look at food inflation, so total inflation was definitely beyond 6%. But then slowly and gradually in 2023, 2024, CPI, Consumer Price Index, slightly came to 5.44%. But though, like earlier, it was above 6%, but now slightly it became 5.4 within the permissible limit. But food inflation is rising continuously. Okay, so food inflation rose to 7.5 and it further climbed to 8.7% in the first 2 months of the current financial. So what is it just over here? Food inflation is rising in India, right? So recent research, it shows that large and persistent food shocks spill over into non-food inflation. Okay, so now what is happening? If the food inflation continues to grow, and even if the other items are not inflating, but what will be the overall impact? The overall impact will be inflation is high. So that is happening in India. Okay. And see, if the food prices go on increasing, definitely the common people will be affected, especially the poor people will be affected. So that is happening. It is hitting the common people. Okay. Now, why this food inflation is rising in India? So first of all, because of the heat waves that happened, which damaged the crops, unseasonal rains. Okay. Uh, El Nino was there last year, and we had seen that last year in the month of August, it rained only in the few pockets of India. In the major pockets, we did not have rainfall. So it was the driest August in Indian history. Okay, all this has affected the production of food. Okay, so heat waves especially have affected the food production. Also, depleting groundwater levels, wheat grains were affected, pest infestation happened. All these things resulted into low productivity, and as a result, we are seeing that food inflation is rising. Okay, and we need to take action, especially in the light of the climate change. We have to focus on climate resilient agriculture. So this is an important thing to be done at this time. We require such type of crops which are resilient to the changes in the climate. Okay, so that is being mentioned over here. Apart from that, uh, we need to focus on agriculture infrastructure. So that is also important. And we need to spend more and more on agriculture research, because if you're spending more on research, then only you can think of producing such varieties which are resilient. Okay, so that is being required in order to control the food inflation. Okay, let's have a look at the question. We had solved this earlier also, but yes, let's do it once again in 2020. So the weightage of food in CPI is higher than wholesale price index. Yes. So in CPI, the entire like 40% weightage is given to the food. And in WPI, manufacturing items. So manufacturing items have the highest weightage. Okay? So statement number one is absolutely correct. Second one, WPI does not capture changes in the prices. CPI does. Absolutely correct. Okay, so CPI, it traces the changes in both goods and services. When I talk about WPI, only goods, no services. So even this is correct. Okay? Let's come to the statement number three. RBI has adopted WPI as the key measure of inflation and to decide on the changing policy rates. Okay, now this is a false statement. RBI uses CPI, all India. So on the basis of it, the target, like we see that RBI maintains 2 to 6%. It is in accordance to all India CPI. So statement number three is false. So this WPI, no, we are considering CPI all India. So just answer is 1 and 2. Let's come to the next question. It's heating up. It's an article from environment section. So the average global temperature between July 2023 and June 2024 was the highest on record, according to European Union's Copernicus Climate Change Service latest bulletin. Okay, so even we might have observed like this year summer was like too hot. And even in the initial days of June, July, like I stay in Mumbai, so even though it was raining over here in the month of June, though it didn't rain, but in the month of July, um, it was raining, but still it was too hot. So बारिश हो रही है फिर भी गर्मी हो रही है. So that is a sign that yes, it's heating up. Okay. So what are the key takeaways? Agency among this is World Meteorological Organization, key source of climate data, has revealed that in past 12 months, planet was 1.64 degrees Celsius hotter than the fossil fuel era. Okay, so 1.64 degrees Celsius more uh, uh, temperature was there than the industrial revolution era or the fossil fuel era. Okay. Now, this finding does not immediately mean that we have defaulted on our Paris Pact, okay, that is to control the temperature. So, according to the Paris Agreement, our long-term perspective is to control the temperature up to 2 degrees Celsius, and the short term is this 1.5. Okay. So temporarily, definitely for 2 months, the temperature exceeded. So it was 1.6 degrees Celsius more. Okay. So that is being mentioned over here. So we need to reduce GHG emissions. We need then and then only the warming could be eliminated. We need to focus on climate while making our policies. So that is being mentioned over here. Okay. So that's it about this. One more, the last thing, in 2021, New Delhi based Council for Energy, Environment and Water Studies revealed that more than 80% of the Indian population is vulnerable to climate disasters. Okay? And these regions have low capacity. So we can use this data in the mains answer writing. If there is a question on climate change and all impact, so you can use this data. Coming towards the next article, Russia razors edge. Okay, so current events of national and international importance, GS2, effects of policies and politics of developed and developing countries on Indian interests. So what's the ongoing story? So we all are aware that Prime Minister Modi had meeting with Russian President Vladimir Putin. Okay? So PM's successful visit to Russia has once again demonstrated India's ability to walk the geopolitical equivalent of a razor's edge and give everyone something to cheer about while providing stability to ties with a consequential partner. Okay, so the meeting was highly successful, and we had a very tight walk. That is, we tried to balance our relations with the East, with the West. Okay, so like that is the India's you can say significance. Okay, or you can say ability, India ka hunar hai, that we are trying to balance between all the major partners. Okay. So key takeaways. So in today's geopolitical scenario, visit cannot be confined to bilateral context. Okay. So if Modi is visiting Russia, it cannot be just a bilateral thing because everyone is watching. Okay. World is multipolar. Everyone is watching. So you have to balance out everything. So it will be seen as New Delhi's emphatic endorsement of ties with Moscow despite the fighting in Ukraine. Okay. So despite Russia-Ukraine war is going on, despite the pressure on India from the West to delineate from Russia, despite Russia's growing ties with Beijing, okay, India has maintained its closeness with Russia. Okay, so India also share the goal of ushering in the multipolar world. So basically, India is trying to balance out. India has a pressure from West that you remain isolated from Russia. Okay. Apart from that, Russia and China, their ties are growing. So India has to balance this act and maintain its relations with Russia, which India has done absolutely like in a very good way. So India and Russia agreed that Ukraine conflict has to be resolved peacefully through dialogue and diplomacy in accordance with the international laws on the basis of the UN Charter. Okay, so definitely, basically, India is getting Russia to agree to this formulation in a joint statement. So it does not mean that India will enter into mediation mode between Russia and Ukraine. But in itself, it's a very big thing that India and Russia, they are saying that, or India is getting out of Russia that a statement that we should solve this war in a peaceful manner. So that itself is a very big thing, okay? Paradoxically, despite the war and related sanctions, India and Russia's trade has grown exponentially. So we have seen this, like in the last financial year, the trade between India and Russia was $65 billion, which was absolutely a commendable thing. And the target is to increase this trade to $100 billion. But if you look at the trade, India is on the negative side. Why? Because we are importing Russian oil. Okay. So this rapid growth in trade is mainly because of the purchase of the Russian oil, which was sold at the discount rate to India. And most important thing, the payment was done in the local currency. Okay. So rupee, ruble agreement was signed for this trade. So keeping aside dollar. But then I just want to highlight over here, balance of trade is in the favor of Russia. Okay. Because India is a net importer. We import the things, the defense technology, now oil. So that is it. So the joint statement issued at the end of the visit hints at the possible new payment mechanism and also new range of relations or trade relations in the field of agriculture, automobiles, that is being highlighted over here. Okay. Now, there is one more article related to this from the editorial page, message to Moscow. Okay. So 2.5 years later, Prime Minister Modi's first visit to Russia since the conflict began. Okay. So since the Russia-Ukraine conflict began. So this is, so after the conflict, this is first visit of Modi to Russia. Okay. So that is being mentioned over here. While the visit saw warmth between Modi and Russian president and a slew of announcements on trade, technology, and defense. India also like chided Moscow for a stronger pitch for peace. Okay, so we saw that the Russia and uh, India, they agreed to solve the Ukraine war peacefully. So that's because of the efforts of India that is being highlighted over here. Okay. So Delhi's Balanced Act is growing in this polarized world. The way forward for India is to continue to engage with all the partners. So we cannot just focus. We have to be engaged with everyone, with USA, because we have a certain interest over there. We need to cooperate with the Quad. We need to cooperate with I2U2, like Israel, UAE. We need to have a say in Shanghai. So it cannot be just focusing on one country. We have to balance our relation with all the countries, because ultimately we have some or the other interests from each of these groups. So that is being mentioned. So let's come towards the next article. So the next article, UP's fee waiver on hybrids may push green mobility. Okay. So GS3 growth and development. Fine. So Uttar Pradesh government waived off registration fees for strong hybrids and plug-in hybrid electric vehicles on July 5, joining Tamil Nadu and Chandigarh. Okay. So basically, when I talk about hybrid cars are those cars which use a combination of electric motors and so basically, they are using a hybrid venture where electric power is used. Apart from that, even fuel is used in a hybrid manner. So that has been there. And UP government has waived off the registration fees in order to push or give a boost to green mobility, so that people could purchase electric vehicles. Okay. So in financial year 23, strong hybrid, nothing but the full hybrid basically, where at the majority chunk you can use electricity. So basically for the maximum journey you are using electricity, and it is slightly supplemented by your fuel, petrol, diesel, slight. So that is the full hybrid, right? So in financial year 2023, strong hybrid made 0.5% of the total sales, which surged to 2.2% in financial year 24. So slowly and gradually, we are seeing that the market is increasing. Okay. By comparison, the share of battery grew at slower pace from 1.3% to 2.3%. See, slowly and gradually, we are moving ahead in this journey of electric vehicles. And to further boost it, government is taking such initiatives. Okay. So hybrid vehicles here they have defined combine an internal combustion engine with an electric motor working together to power the car. So basically, there's an electric motor and you have an IC engine where there is a fuel. So in the combination, we are trying to run the vehicle. So UP government's 100% waiver on registration fees for strong hybrids could save buyers around 3.5 lakhs. So this that is being mentioned over here. So that's it you need to know. In mains, if there's a question, what are the government initiatives with respect to promoting, if there's this electric vehicles, you can mention over here in such articles. Or even in environmental article, you can put this. See, in order to tackle the issue of vehicular exhaust pollution, we are we are basically moving towards. Now coming towards the next article, 100 billion FDI pledge by EFTA, goal to visit Switzerland soon. Okay? From the economy perspective. So, Commerce and Industry Minister Piyush Goyal will visit Switzerland to take forward $100 billion investment commitment for India made by four European nations, Free Trade Association under the bilateral free trade agreement. So we know that in March, India signed uh, this European Free Trade an agreement with European Free Trade Association, which comprises of the four countries, Switzerland, Norway, Iceland, and Liechtenstein. Okay? So here the pledge was taken by these four countries that over the next 15 years, they are going to do the investment of 100 billion in India. Okay. 50 billion will flow in the first 10 years and another 50 billion in the next 5 years, right? And these investments will come in the form of FDI. So FDI is more stable and there can be FDI will help in research and development. So from that perspective, it's an important one. And this investment will help in generating around 1 million direct jobs. So far, the grouping have collectively invested 10 billion in India, $10 billion in India, of which 9.96 has come from Switzerland alone. Bilateral trade between India and these four countries stood at $23 billion last financial year. So this is all about this. Let's come to the next one. So certain important things and news. So, day after Putin's meet, Prime Minister Modi underlines loss of innocent lives. So, day after Modi's visit with Vladimir Putin, uh, Modi had a meeting with Austrian Chancellor Karl Nehammer in Vienna, where he said that this is not the time for war and problems cannot be solved with battle. Loss of innocent lives anywhere is unnecessary. So basically, it's like such type of statements made by the Prime Minister, which signals to the West that India has sent a clear message to them. So West puts an West is like they don't like India getting closer to Russia or India supporting Russia. So in a way, when Modi is about peace, so Modi is signaling to the West that see we have given certain messages Russia, and we are balancing our mind. Coming to the next one, this term is in news, so we need to just focus on the term Hannibal Directive. So in prelims, there's a question: what is a Hannibal Directive? As Hamas raided southern Israel on October 7th last year, Israel Defense Forces they have activated this Hannibal Directive. So this is being used by. So this is a it's a tactic, war tactic. So basically, what is a war tactic? Where you're using maximum force so that no soldiers are captured. So basically, you are using maximum of your forces and you are ensuring that the soldiers are not captured by your opponents. Even if it means sacrificing within civilian lives, okay? So even if you are sacrificing the civilian lives, then not an issue, but none of your soldiers should be captured. And for that, there is maximum forces. So that's it for July 11th.